Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, knights, dames, and families and friends, welcome everyone to another exciting episode of St. George Online. As the Order's dedicated worldwide communication vehicle, this program truly embodies our global reach. We're thrilled to connect with our vibrant membership, which now spans an impressive 39 countries across the world. This remarkable diversity means that for every broadcast, our production team often has to navigate the fascinating temporal landscape, coordinating across a minimum of 7 different time zones to bring you this content. It is a testament to our shared commitment and the incredible growth of the Order under the leadership of our Grand Magistrate. Before diving into the main substance of this meeting, let's quickly run through some standard Zoom housekeeping. Please ensure that your microphones are muted. This helps eliminate background noise and keeps the meeting flowing smoothly. If you have any questions, feel free to utilize the raise hands function or type directly into the chat. We will address questions during designated Q&A periods. We're pleased that you can join us, and we are looking forward to a collaborative session. Remember that this session will be recorded, so please be mindful of your background and any comments that you make. If you don't want your image recorded, turn off your camera. We will take a group photo, and you will receive a message during the Zoom event asking your permission. You can decline. Only once you give permission, you will be included in the photo. Important to remember, once you have allowed the app to take the photo, be sure you are ready before you click. Thank you for your cooperation. Appreciate your patience. As we navigate any potential hiccups, we will have another informative program for you today, which we feel that you will learn from and enjoy. So sit back, enjoy the program, and learn more about the Order.
My name is Stuart Northolt. As Robert has just said, I'm the UK Grand Prior and also the Magisterium Officium. And I'm going to speak in a moment on our 2025 symposium on humanitarian activities, which we held in September. And it's my great pleasure and honour to introduce Minali Patel, who will give us a very personal presentation about her own humanitarian work. The symposium is an initiative that we started last year in 2024. It's an annual event intended to be, and it perhaps is intended to provide a sort of intellectual or academic basis or framework to the humanitarian efforts that we carry out worldwide. So it's a think tank style event. It's open to all members and patrons and guests, and it's particularly important that we have non-members of the Order attending it because that broadens our reach and our influence and also the basis of our learning. Different theme each year. The first one was, as you might expect, around our humanitarian work in general, and this year we focused more in a theme which came out of last year, around caring for the carers. It's recognised that people who care for others are themselves human and themselves can suffer trauma and deleterious effects from the very intense work that they're often doing. So it's a forum in which we can share and discuss ideas and solutions relating to our humanitarian support and aid programs. Next slide, please. So as I've said, it helps us focus what we're doing. It brings together experts from around the field, both inside and outside the Order, and enables us to share our learning and experience, set some future directions, and above all, networking. So this is why we do it. This speaks to what we do as an organisation, working with communities and vulnerable groups worldwide. The symposium identifies the humanitarian need within the international framework and political framework, which of course is changing very, very rapidly. For the UK Grand Priory and also to an extent for the Priory worldwide, the overwhelming focus inevitably has been on Ukraine in recent years. But this is an opportunity for us to slightly draw breath on that and actually see, where we're going amid the literal heat of battle that we're experiencing in that part of the world. Our order as a whole, again, this is common to all, three main areas: the medical and humanitarian relief, which has been the biggest single part of what we've been doing in the last 2 or 3 years. Veterans and armed forces, we do that worldwide, and individual Grand Priorities will know of the initiatives in their geographies. Focus on education and youth, looking at cadets and youth development, and the external affairs is our kind of interface between the various parts of the order. Each of those top three groups, medical, veterans, and education, has a rapporteur who's the lead for that specific area, and he or she, in fact, they are all she's at the moment, pulls together the various themes and presents upwards to the UK Grand Priory. So each of those directorates works together and cross-fertilizes what we're doing. But this is the Venn diagram which we created back at the beginning of this program. It's too small to read, I won't bore you with the detail, but you'll see from that spread a good range, couple of dozen, probably more, three dozen activities that we're involved in, either medical, humanitarian, education, youth, or veterans. And you can see from the Venn the way they overlap. So that's quite a useful way of projecting how we operate worldwide and both through individual projects. So, to pick one up at random, veterans relief covers both medical, humanitarian, and veterans and armed forces. Our Tanzania work covers youth and education, as well as some humanitarian efforts in that. And in the middle of that is some areas that overlap all three areas. And one of those is PTSD. This is something that seems to be common to all the areas we're working in. And the Train and Equip is our specific program in Ukraine, which, as the name implies, is to train and equip frontline medics with the equipment and skills that they need for frontline triaging in Ukraine. And that's been joined, you'll see this in a minute, by a new program called Life and Limb, which is the longer term physical and mental recovery program for people, primarily for people who've been physically damaged, but also, of course, mentally damaged, and that's where the link to PTSD comes in. So the first one, as I said, was the evolutionary humanitarian response, very much a scene-setting exercise. A lot of focus on conflict, effects of conflict on children, again, specifically in Ukraine. Some looking at other communities in other areas of the world, like Nigeria, where we know that Christians in particular are facing a lot of existential threat. The importance of identifying traumatic brain injury was one of the themes that came very strongly last year, which we've continued on this year. So it's the physical and mental effects of war trauma on the human body. Degree of youth outreach that we're engaged in, particularly around interventions for crime. But again, the physical and psychological trauma, very, very important that we're focusing on that. And restoring the human capital in Ukraine. It's the need for a new response for a longer term solution to address the longer term issues both as the war progresses and hopefully after it concludes. This year we had the support of an organisation called Blesma, which operates in the veterans arena, helping veterans who've lost limbs. So again, that's very much in line with our theme. So it was a focus on how the military, emergency services, disaster response personnel all come together to support people after trauma in the different ways, whether that's conflict, terrorist incidents, or serious accidents. We had a very rich keynote speakers covering psychological and psychosocial support following particularly transport-related emergencies. Focused on welfare and neurological impairment using sport as a rehabilitational battlefield is against another theme that the UK Grand Priory has been developing with the help of people involved in football as a sports relief. Caring from the carers, we had a family perspective on this and how this impacts on families. It's not just the carers themselves, but there's a whole network that sort of backfills from the care of people directly affected, as well as sort of front fill into the people who are directly affected by the traumatic injury. And we touched on, explored in some depth, I think there's more to be done on this, on intercultural communication, how this translates literally and figuratively across various areas of the world, because there's not a common perception of these things or a common language necessarily as to how to proceed. Wow, a lot of words on that one. I'm not going to read them all out. So some of the feedback we got was the continuing need for psychological and humanitarian support for children. So by psychological, we mean not just PTSD relief, but things like the soft toys program, the stuff that the literally and figuratively softer stuff that we supply alongside the hardware and the medicines. Same for civilian adults, both civilians and serving and veteran personnel. And as a result of this, we are supporting in the UK a new directive, a new initiative called Life and Limb. And that has been established to run in parallel with Train and Equip, but specifically for the purpose of supporting injured and limbless children, civilians, and veterans who've suffered as a result of the ongoing conflict in Ukraine. And that remit, as I mentioned, includes PTSD and mental trauma. Fundraising is currently underway for that. If anyone's in London on the 30th of October, do come along to the gala dinner that will raise significant funds for the Life and Limb programme. So we're already planning the next one, and not quite sure what the theme is, I have to say, but we're working on it. I'm always keen to hear from members who can contribute to that. And the lead for the symposium is Dame Sylvie Edwards, who can be contacted at, as it says there, hospitaler@orderstgeorge.co.uk. Questions, ideas. What I'm going to do, rather than take questions I won't be able to answer, if I may, is I'll just show you some photos from the event. Right, we held the event this year as last year at the Honourable Artillery Company, which is a very old and established organisation, very prestigious organisation in London. Can you see the stained glass window of St George?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So, like a lot of things in the UK and in London in particular, there's an echo of what we do in the veneration of St George there. So there's a rather fine stained glass window, which in a sense is coincidental, but nonetheless it's nice to see St George and the English flag and so on there. This is meet and greet. That's Hinani on the left. You'll hear from her in a minute, and her father, and Sylvie, who, as I say, organised the event. This was the desk in action, thanks to the Patels for running the sign-in. That was really helpful. And more of Sam getting quite busy there. Slightly out of focus photo, but you can see the audience there, and you can see the historic setting in which we held it. It's always nice to have a nice convivial setting. It's a very traditional setting, but one in which I think we did some very modern looking at things and problems. So one of our speakers, a gentleman from the London Ambulance Society, who spoke about the disaster recovery after transport-related incidents, which, fortunately in the UK, most of the incidents, touch wood, are not terrorist related or war related, but good old fire, famine, and road collision. And he spoke very eloquently on those issues. And that's Rosemary speaking on intercultural communications, which is a theme that she's developed. That's her in action, and that's the panel taking questions. And we had an auction at the end with some interesting items for the railway geeks amongst you. That's a London Underground sign from Shoreditch, which is an underground station that closed about 20 years ago now. And Sylvie obtained, we're told legitimately, unscrewed that from the wall, and was very kind to offer that up as one of the auction items of the evening. I'm glad to say it's sold, so it's got a nice new home somewhere. I would have bid myself, but Jenny would probably have killed me if I come home with that. I think I'd be dead. So that's that. So I will now, if I may, introduce Inlani Patel, who I think is going to speak to us on humanitarian work.
So yeah, my name is Hinali Patel, and I am a student at the University of South Wales studying biomedical science. I've done a lot of charities in the past, and I really wanted to showcase it to everybody. So I'm going to be talking about my journey making a difference while fighting cancer. My mother was my inspiration a lot when it came to the charities I've done. She passed away in 2023 of ovarian cancer, and I have since done various charities for Overcome, the Royal British Legion, and Macmillan Cancer Support. And it's one of the reasons why I decided to do biomedical science, because I wanted to understand chemotherapy and the human body, because it's a really interesting topic. The first thing I remember doing was Overcome. So it's the national UK ovarian cancer charity, and it's focused on providing support and information to anyone affected by ovarian cancer. That could be people that has the disease itself, or family and friends that have had family or friends that have it, and healthcare professionals. I and my father, we did a cancer teal walk in July 2024. We did 160 kilometers in 30 days, and we raised over £800. And Overcomers thus then invited me to be a member of the charity. As well as that, in August of that same year, I raised money for the Royal British Legion and Macmillan Cancer Support. I did a March for the Veterans, and I did a Macmillan's walk in 100 miles in August, and I raised over £200 for both. I learned a lot from this, and it was really fun. Of this year, I did a I also raised money for Macmillan Cancer Support again. I did the Jurassic Coast Mighty Hike, and I raised over £810, because there's a lot of people that have gone through the same thing that I have, and it was really nice getting to meet people that have done this before. And I was awarded medals and certificates for finishing the full thing.
Yeah. She walked 26 miles, and yes, she made me walk the 26 miles as well.
As well as that, I also am a team leader for this organization called All World Gayatri Parivar. So Gayatri Parivar, it's an organization that teaches youths about physical change. So about change, but not just physical change, it's mental change. It's inner transformation. And every year they held a residential camp, and it's like a 3-day camp, and it involves various things involves various activities about self-development, and explores values like kindness, gratitude, mindfulness. And it has different workshops and about team building activities where youths can brainstorm ideas and activities. And my mother, and this was a really important thing from my mother, I ended up picking up her mantle, and I assisted in holding things like yoga and meditation in the actual residential camp itself. And I also helped out with a lot of the youths and with a lot of the workshops. And I learned a lot of things about inner transformation, because it doesn't come naturally. And I myself would say I transformed myself a lot, and I learned a lot. And recently I became a STEM ambassador, and yeah.
You may want to say what STEM is.
Yeah. So the STEM ambassador company, it's like a bunch of people, they come together and they...
It's like science, technology, engineering.
And a bunch of students in that field have the option to become a STEM ambassador, and they teach a bunch of students studying A-levels about the course they do, about what it involves, and things around that area, and why they should do a STEM course. And I've spoken to a lot of students about biomedical science and why I find it interesting.
Because at the moment, Hinali actually feels, we both do, that females are underrepresented in science, engineering, and technology.
Yeah.
And so we both, and especially Hinali, goes out, give talks, and acts like a role model to many of the sixth form colleges.
Yeah.
And it's like, if you can do it, they can do it.
Yeah.
Just giving them motivation, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. That sort of summarizes of everything that Hinali has sort of been doing on a charity basis.
Yeah.
It's wonderful to have you as part of the order, and
Thank you.
more strength to your elbow. It's a tremendous initiative, and I know you very much take it to heart because of your mother's experience, and
Yeah.
privileged to have you as I should risk embarrassing Hinali was our first demoiselle,
Yes.
our youth wing, as it were. So she's a pioneer in more senses than one.
In September 2024, the UK Grand Priory held its inaugural symposium, The Evolution of the Humanitarian Response, in the historic heart of London. With guests from Africa, America, and across Europe, the evening brought together a truly global community. Honoured by royal presence, His Royal Highness Prince Michael of Kent offered heartfelt words of encouragement and support. Presenters shared stories of trauma, resilience, and the challenges of delivering aid in today's world. Join us next year, caring for the carers. September 2025. Until next year, we continue the mission together.
And do we have any questions for Stuart or Hinalia? Thank you very much for your presentation. Our next presentation will be from our Grand Priory of Canada. I'm going to introduce Charles Hill, the Grand Prior. Charles?
Thank you very much, Robert. Greetings all, both guests and fellow knights and dames within the Order of St. George. Just a couple of preamble comments before I launch into our review of the Danielle Foundation not-for-profit that we're working on. In regards to the Grand Prior from the UK, Stuart's comments about Vin is the same as us. We are primarily, most of our programs are veterans and Canadian Armed Forces centric, but it does bleed into a number of different things in regards to that. And we're saving this for our Remembrance Day review that we'll be doing in November. But I do want to share with you the Danielle Foundation for Humanitarian Assistance in Raya in Ethiopia. A couple of things in regards to this as well. When we were looking at, and for those that have involvement with the United Nations through the NGO for the Order of St. George, we have looked at also the Sustainable Development Goals, or SDGs, and we cover quite a bit. Robert and I had the opportunity to go through what those are, and we do cover quite a few of the SDGs in regards, and probably should start reporting to it, at least sharing the activity that the order does with the United Nations. So that's something that we'll continue to work on. So it's my pleasure to introduce the people of the Danielle Foundation for Humanitarian Assistance in Raya. We have a number of the members of the management team that are on the bridge. We also have, and I don't think the ambassador is with us, but we did an invite with the ambassador of Ethiopia to Canada, who was planning to attend, but had overlap that caused, I think he's probably not with us, but we certainly have dealt with him in regards to this program. To start with, this is for us the first joint program that we're doing between the Grand Priory of the Americas and the Grand Priory of Canada. The Danielle Foundation is a not-for-profit Canadian organization that is applied for its charitable status, and with the Grand Priory of the Americas in support of primarily providing ongoing support with medicine, and I'll come to that as to what that looks like and it means. But it's a joint it's a joint activity that both Grand Priories have been working on. So great example of collaboration, within North America on a project. I have also the pleasure of introducing, I believe she's on the call, the founder and executive director for the Danielle Foundation, Marin Lima, who will start off with the vision and what the Danielle Foundation represents. And then I'll cover off some specifics in regards to that. So I'll turn it over to Marin if she is online.
Yeah, thank you. I'm here.
Oh, good.
Yeah, thank you for every opportunity. My name is Marin Lama. I'm the mother of the Daniel Foundation, which is Daniel history. It's a little bit touching. Daniel, he was very active in Canada and in different country. He was outstanding student. He graduated with 2 degrees in 1 year, which is he's supposed to be researcher and mathematics university researcher. And suddenly, after he graduated, 3 days late, he was working with his friend. By accident, he slept in ice and he died in his graduation day. So it's a disaster and painful, but at the same time, I know the pain is hard. As a mother, I was very struggling in hardship, suffering. I found on his email and in his contacts, he used to support orphan children from different country. He used to send money, which is $25 every month. And I decided instead of sitting and crying every day thinking about him, I should do his dream and then his thought to wake up and to give a gold medal, a gold name of Daniel. That's why the Daniel Foundation, it starts from the 2020. So since I started to 2020, Daniel, he used to help on the desert area and on the poor area, poor people, and especially with orphan kids. He have got vision to dream to build hospitality and a school for orphan, which is he knows the history, my background. My mom, she dies with all delivery after she gave me 1 hour late. So he always asks me, what should I do to make you happy when I graduate? I will open hospital and helping orphan kids. That's the reason we started helping these kids, which is Daniel dream. It's going off, it's following dream of Daniel and then going on. So those children, what you see them now, that's Daniel's children on the picture, which is Daniel. He used to support them. They don't have anything, but I just started 2020, starting feeding program, and I help them with the feeding program, giving them food and assist them with medication, with any simple thing, what they need, which is by private income. And the time I started to build the foundation, I got a lot of helpers with different people, different situation. So we start to give in hope and dream the children. What was our dream is the Daniel vision to restore and to build shelter and giving nutrition and with the poor community, giving effort and conflict area where it's the Daniel Foundation starts in Raya. So our all dream and giving hope for the children. What we should do about Daniel? Daniel, he have a plan to build and to start establish those orphan children, which is the picture you can see.
Next slide, please, Robert.
And the next mission is Daniel, the Daniel Foundation for Humanitarian Assistance in Raya, registering in foundation of in Canada. It is mission undertaking short terms and emergency and long-term humanitarian and vulnerable activity in Raya. What is Raya? Raya means the place where he born and where he sees the poor kids, where he used to play with the orphan children. That is Raya is the north of Ethiopia. It's a small village where they have the orphan children now. So our immediate emergency assist to save life and all suffering, and implement long-term development program to reliable community and restore dignity.
What we have developed within the Danielle Foundation is a 5-year strategic plan. And it basically follows three steps, 3 terms. The first one is obviously in the next year, within the next period of time, that's providing emergency support. That is in the form of a temporary shelter, food, clothing, and medical support to the Raya orphans. The other is to also, we have started with providing the national medicine support in conjunction with the Ministry of Health. And we have an agreement also with the Order St. George for Ethiopia in providing medicine that has been great support to them, that we're doing as part of the immediate, emergency support for life. The second term, the midterm, over the next 1 to 2 years, is partnering with other corporations, and I'll come back to that because we have a number of memorandums of understanding, okay, and looking for investors to optimize existing resources and service some of the basic needs, including education. We're looking at including a library, a shelter for the orphans, a permanent shelter, and also looking at building a proposal. We have a proposal for a school for primary and secondary students that we're hoping to at least address the first 250 in the Raya area. We've reviewed this on an Order St. George basis, and we're looking for some corporate sponsorship to help with this, to build this. And then we'll continue with the national medicine support in conjunction with the Ministry of Health in the Order St. George. So this is kind of the midterm. We are of interest to this. The memorandum of understanding is actually using the regional hospital network in Ethiopia to distribute the medicine that we find and ship. And I'll come back to that and what we've achieved thus far. And so this will be something that we will commit to. We've already signed in the memorandum of understanding agreement that we will strive to raise $1 million worth of gift in kind for medicine to be shipped to them. So significant recognition of what is needed and support. And then in the long term, over the next 2 to 5 years, is develop a secured complex in Raya. There's an existing university there that we will build within that. That will include the proposed school, shelter, library. We'll incorporate the temporary shelter that's there and make it more permanent. And we will acquire a 20-acre agro center with the help of Marin and her contacts within the area, that the students and support workers can become self-reliant and create a micro economy to support further education and work experience. And this will be an agro-micro application. So here's some of the things that we actually managed to accomplish thus far. Okay, we have 4 memorandum of understanding. So one is with the Ministry of Health in Ethiopia. What this will do, as I said, will not only utilize the fact that we'll use the hospitals as a distribution network, okay, but it also we can help identify where the immediate needs are as an emergency to direct. The other thing what this will do is we're looking for this to help us with importing into Ethiopia the medicine. It goes through quite a process in regards to what goes through customs, and we're looking for this to smooth this process so that we can get the medicine out a lot more quickly than what we're doing right now. So this will help with that. We have a memorandum of understanding with an organization out of Belgium that's called the Bright Initiatives of Charitable Organizations. and that is we are looking to utilize their existing shelter for the orphans that we have, and incorporate a kind of a collaborative agreement to continue to develop that and work together on investment to do what we want to do on our 5-year plan. We have a memorandum of understanding with the Tigray Development Association in North America that has a has storage facilities in Washington, D.C., where we collect material, and from there, then we ship to Ethiopia. Mostly, like with being medicine, most of it goes via air, but we have a memorandum of understanding where not only is it with them, but it's also a service agreement with them as to what they will perform when they receive the medicine, like the manifest and packing and so on and so forth, and doing the inventory of what's being shipped. And of course, we have a memorandum of understanding with St. George in North America, okay, which also is a donor agreement that we have with the Order of St. George, particularly around providing support. On the Grand Priory of the Americas website, we have a spot where you can donate there if you are US based. And on our website, we also have a donate button if you're Canadian, where the CRA will be able to also issue tax receipts for any donations. So we're covering most of North America and what we can do to receive funds. We have a new updated international website. It is I don't know whether it's on here on the material or not, but it is. And we'll put it in the notes. We'll put it in the chat notes so you know what it is, where you can go. But if you just go Danielle Foundation, you will see it. We have a number of governance documents established for the directors. So we have formulated the structure of what we're trying to do. Part of that, which is not in here, is that we have just recently acquired certification of authorization for the not-for-profit, where it is a not-for-profit in Canada, but we worked with the embassy in Ottawa to have it validated. So now we have this where we are now recognized as somebody who can do business with Ethiopia. Part of that is we have written to a number of governmental organizations, Ministry of Justice, Ministry of Health, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, the Prime Minister of Ethiopia, where we have written to identify the issues within Ethiopia in regards to primarily the children and those less fortunate. I will identify also when we said that we have shipped medicine. You'll see here we have so far Gifts in Kindness sent $300,000 worth of medicine. That includes hygiene kits for the orphans so far this year. The initial school proposal is we said 250, but we're looking to have a school that will accommodate 600 students, both in elementary and secondary classes. And then we have ongoing support for food, clothing, and the immediate needs and school supplies. Thank you, Robert. So I did talk about the government engagement. Part of the correspondence with the government engagement is we have crafted a petition addressing the concerns on the abuse of women and families in civil conflicts, with formal letters to the, as I said, the Minister of Justice in Canada, Ethiopia, Ministry of Health, and the ambassador and the Prime Minister. So this petition is identifying the issues that we have with UN recognized criminal laws in regards to the use of children in war and the plight of disadvantaged women that are taken advantage of in order to cause community disruption. So we've done a petition. We call it the Voice for the Voiceless. And this petition also went out when we sent out the governmental letters, just for the recognition. And of course, we're asking for any recognition for financial or resource support. So that has been done as well. Thank you, Robert. So I'll leave this now for Maren as to her ask as to what you can do to help.
Yeah, thank you again. So as we mentioned all our problems, how we started and where we are going through. So at this time we need really emergency assist, which is every effort what we need to get us. How can you help us? As in emergency funding for food, shelter, and clothes, shoes, and school supplement to help raising the fundraising, share our mission and current awareness. I really thank you to have the opportunity to meet you and to have you on this time.
Thank you, Maren. Thank you, everyone, for listening to our update. This is a fairly huge humanitarian effort that we're putting in regards to this. Tremendous thanks to all of the members and knights and dames of the Order of St. George for their support and in helping. And it's getting exposure as well with the roles that we have within the United Nations. So thank you, Robert. That concludes, unless there are any specific questions.
Thank you, Charles and Maren. Here's a few more slides that you had included. So we're just going through them so that the attendees can view those as well.
Yeah, they've been used for backup. So this is the petition that went out with the picture of the kids in the temporary shelter that is there, and you'll see the kind of the key things in regards to in the petition what we're addressing in regards to rape and the use of children. What is interesting here is the comment that says 27 million children are in the conflict zones within a number of countries in Africa.
Thank you, Charles. Any questions or comments for Charles or Maren?
Where are the funding nodes for the Danielle Foundation? Are we going to be able to place those links, say, on our individual websites for the Priories and the Grand Priories?
Thanks very much, Stephen, for that. I would direct you to the Danielle Foundation website that has 2 donate buttons on it. One for if you are within the US, and the other is if you are within Canada. And so, and one goes into a report with the CRA, and the other goes in against the 501c3. So we have 2 donate buttons that we're collecting, and I would direct you to the website, and we'll make sure we send this out so that everybody knows. I'll make sure I put it in the chat, okay? So that's where you can go to donate.
Okay, so we go off site to do the donation. I don't know if we had permission to carry the donation link on our sites.
Oh, we'll have to verify that, but I don't see an issue with that. Okay, because we have the Order of St. George websites on the Danielle's website. Okay, so.
All right, thank you.
Because it is a Canadian registered not-for-profit, I don't see an issue with that.
You'll also find the link to make a donation on the Americas website. It has a designated page if you visit the website. Any other questions?
Sorry, may I say something?
Yes, go right ahead.
Okay, it's me, Hulu, from Embassy of Ethiopia. I just want to say thank you, the Daniel Foundation, both Charles and Maren. He has been a plan to join the meeting, the ambassador. As you know, there are a big meeting in Montreal, ECHA. That is why it's gonna be very difficult to join us. So on behalf of the Ethiopian government, we always with the Daniel Foundation. I would like to thank you all the participants on the meeting. I know we have been work a little bit progress to start the project in Ethiopia Draya project with Mr. Charles and Miron. So I just wanted to say thank you and then to let you know I am one of the participants from the embassy. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other comments or questions for Charles or Mary? All right, we will go ahead with our next presentations from the Grand Priory of the Americas. And our first presentation will be from Dr. Thomas Smith in regards to the work that he's doing in the school in Tanzania.
All right, Grandpa Robert, thank you very much. And greetings to everybody around the world, in both Canada, in the UK, all our brothers and sisters there, dames and knights. Welcome today, and good to see everybody online. I'm honored to talk about the Order of St. George Gender-Based Violence Scholarship Program in Tanzania, East Africa. This program focuses on rescuing young African women from gender-based violence, child marriage, and human trafficking. Of all the fantastic work that the Order of St. George does, and in cooperation with other nonprofits around the world, and truly Charles mentioned about in Africa, the conflict zones and the children and so forth. And you hear about that, but this pandemic that's taking place around the world, not only Africa, but this whole pandemic, it's not, it's like under the table. You don't hear a lot about it as opposed to. Okay, so to give a detail how the program works. Once a young girl, and these girls age anywhere from 14 to 21, 22, 23, 24, in this age group, that's our focus. So once they're identified, then they come to, we have a small school there called Kilimanjaro Institute for Developmental Studies. Onesmo Ngoy is a partner and runs that and sets up the curriculum. The girls come in beginning now. We're starting the cohort for the 2026. And in mid-October, November, part of December, these girls receive social emotional training because they've been devastated physically, but emotionally and socially also. So our program starts now as we're identifying them. And then, Robert, if you could go back to that next slide, please, I appreciate it. Then they begin their program. In January, they start training for about 5 months in hotel restaurant management, tourism, because this is where the job opportunities and the job markets. Right now, we have 29 girls who are finishing up their internship this year. And this is the way the program works. So once they go through our formal training program, then they go into an internship program. In the internship program, the girls are monitored. Ngoy goes every other week. He monitors. We have folks that monitor to make sure of what they're doing, the quality of what's taking place, the training of internship that they're getting. And then, of course, with that, then we're thankful for the last 3 years, every girl in the program has got a job, and they're most of them are hired by the places where they're doing their internship. And of course, the internships are primarily focused on the higher end where tourists come, because that's, again, this is where the business is, where it's located. Next slide, please. That's just a little bit about Tanzania, but to move on there. Move on, next slide, please, Robert. Our program is in Moshi, Tanzania, which sits at the foot of Mount Kilimanjaro, and you saw that mountain there. Okay, so take a look at just our institute and some of the outcomes there. The institute is an official vocational education accredited school by the Ministry of Vocational Education. And again, girls that we're focusing on, not only the economic disadvantage, the educational barriers, but again, as I mentioned earlier, the trauma, the discrimination, the single motherhood, the forced marriage, these are the ones that we focus on. Now you see the cohort from last year, and you'll see myself to the left. You'll see Dr. Onesmo Ngoy in the middle there. And then you'll see far to the right, the gentleman there is Dr. James Badger. He is from the University of North Georgia. He has been a supporter of children's scholarships for the young girls for many years. He did 10 scholarships last year. And of course, he did a visit and did a write-up, a report of the effectiveness of the program and the long-range effectiveness of what's taking place with the young girls. All right, next slide, please. Okay, here again, you see, as it mentioned, how recruiting takes place by word of mouth, religious organizations, primary churches. Now we're having, because of the graduates, they're coming and they're bringing young girls, friends that they know also, encouraging them, would they like to be part of the program. If you change a one girl's life, you can change a village, because her life is changed. She becomes a productive citizen of Tanzania. Then what happens is she goes back, she influences her village, she influences other young women who face the same problems that she has had. And now they're coming and they're bringing girls to us. The scholarship costs 600 USD per year, and that includes their tuition, includes their daily transportation, it includes their books or school materials, includes a meal each day. Something new that we began this year is we had a donor who donated the funds to remodel a small house that was donated to turn it into an early childhood learning center. And now with that, I say most of the girls have children. Those who have children of school age, particularly the early age of the 4 and 5 years old, they can bring their child there, and at no cost, none whatsoever. They are in the school while, of course, the mother is in the training program. Now, something that happened this year that was not in our plans, but it happened, is around March, 8 pastors came and brought 8 girls who had run away from home because of the sexual abuse that they were involved in. They went to the pastors and they asked for help. The pastors brought them to us because they know this is our focus and this is what we're doing. One of the girls was going to be forced into a marriage. I think she was around 14 or 15, forced into a marriage with a guy around 45. She was going to be the second wife. And she says, no, I do not want to be, I don't want this in my life. So she came. Well, we needed a place to put them. We didn't have anything. And so God opened the door for us to form our safe house. So we took 2 rooms upstairs. Dr. Ngoy took those rooms. We got mattresses, we put them on the floor, and then we had the safe house. It was crude, but yet it worked. The girls are already there in the kitchen. They're learning how to cook. They learn how to provide their food. So that was part of the natural training program. So this year, our goal is to raise funds to remodel the safe house, add some more rooms, bathrooms to that, and to be able to take in 20 to 25 girls in this situation like theirs. Many of them are out in the rural villages, and transportation each day is impossible because of the distance. So by having this new feature to the outreach of the safe house, this is going to allow us to be able to do that. Next slide, please, Robert. All right, so a little bit about the curriculum. I mentioned it already. Their pre-orientation in November and December. We're a big focus on some of their English skills, but their social and emotional learning. Then, as you see in the curriculum, it's focused primarily, again, on the tourism industry, because this is where the jobs are at. Now you see the young ladies here, they're in their practicum, they're at the school, learning their cooking, getting prepared for their internships that's taking place. Also, a very important thing is life skills. It's teaching life skills. Really, really super important. And we started last year an agricultural program where each girl started learning how to grow some simple vegetables, raise some chickens. And on my last trip there with Dr. Badger, Dr. Ngoy, we are able to visit with the girls in the homes and actually see how they're making an application, particularly the agricultural aspect of it and their life skills. One of our goals for 2026 is to raise funds to form an agricultural training center. Land has been donated, one building has been donated. To do that, it needs a transformation, like a makeover, but that would become a training program for agricultural development. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, here again, you see a computer room. You see one of the rooms there where they learn the housekeeping, making beds, and that. Next slide, please, Robert. Okay, hospitality industry, we mentioned how important that is, and this is where our focus is. Here you see in Moshi, this is the Lutheran Conference Center, and we'll talk just a minute about one of the big events that the Order of St. George is going to have next year in June. the opportunity to actually go to Tanzania. It's a donor appreciation for our donors and potential donors to go to see the girls. You get to meet with them. You shake hands with them. You have dinner with them. You talk to them. So when you sponsor a young girl and you rescue her from this gender violence and this pandemic, uh, like so many programs around the world, you don't have that opportunity to actually go and see. But here you can get on the plane. It's going to be first part of June, and more information is coming. But this is a picture of the Lutheran Conference Center owned by the Lutheran Church there. We stay there. It's really nice. It's wonderful. About 5 minutes from the school. Next slide, please, Robert. So more information about our donor trip will be coming shortly. Okay, next slide, please. Here you see some of the girls again working on their planning and their internship preparation. Next slide, please, Robert. Okay, we think about the program impact, and as I mentioned to you, that Dr. James Badger from University of North Georgia went and spent a week there, and his research project was to verify and to show the implementation and the impact. All the girls now get jobs. They develop skills. Their social impact is taking place, and to give them the independence, the community contribution, and the leadership to make them productive citizens. So the program, because of the Order of St. George, these young girls' lives are changed forever. They go from darkness to light, a complete turnaround, making productive citizens. Now, one other aspect that we started last year was albino. We had albino girl. Our objective this year is to have 3 to 4 girls who are albino. They are in the worst discrimination all because they're killed, just simply because are albino. And many of the beliefs, the witch doctor beliefs out in the countryside, that these young girls have been cursed. That's the reason why. And so we have to be very careful with their safety. But that's one of our other outreaches. We had one last year, and we want to take in more this year. Next slide, please, Robert. So if you see the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, that was mentioned already, but this ties right into the goals, into the UNICEF program of taking place. And so if the United Nations did not have these goals there, again, this whole pandemic of issues facing young girls around the world for gender violence and education. This is what the call is, and this is what the Order of St. George is doing, and the belief with that to really make a difference. Robert, next slide, please. Okay. Now, I wanted to mention one thing that we've developed this year for all of our donors. It's called the Kilimanjaro Society. And this is a way of recognizing all of the donors who's helped and are helping. Not only does it have the wonderful, beautiful certificate, there is a medal that goes with it. Each year, and a new medal will be coming that you can wear with your other mini medals. And then something else this year for 2026, all of our Kilimanjaro Society members and donors are going to receive a frameable oil painting of St. George slaying the dragon, and it's very unique with the emblem and the logo of the Order of St. George. It's a unique one. It's nothing that you've seen before. It's unique to the Order of St. George. It is a St. George oil painting, and the artist is painting them now, and each person will be receiving one of those also. In our February Grand Convent, there will be some things particularly for members of the Kilimanjaro Society because of their work, and just a way of recognizing, saying thank you for what you're doing and the difference that you're making in these young girls' lives. Next slide, please. Okay. And some of the feedback there, just as we went around, talked to where they're employed, we could get feedback from them, what a wonderful job they're doing, and how this is making a change. Next slide, please, Robert. We move along for time here. Okay. So as I mentioned, in 2026, we're going to have the donor trip. And shortly in October, we'll be kicking off our fundraising drive for scholarships. Really important not to wait till 2026 because the girls have to start school in January. And just imagine you are running a university and time to start school, but nobody's paying the tuition, so it makes it a little challenge. So this year we're going to begin early on our program there. for that. So I would encourage all in the UK and in the USA and in Canada, Charles, to adopt part of this as your outreach programs to provide some funding for the young girls with their scholarship, and put on your calendar to travel and go next year with us to where you can actually see, speak, talk, shake hands, and visit their homes also. Now, in closing today, before any questions, Mr. Ngowi, Dr. Ngowi is actually with us today from Tanzania. He's online. And Dr. Esamoah, I'd like to ask if you just say a word of greetings to everyone, a word of thank you for what we're doing. And if you're there still, please feel free to say a word of thank you to everybody.
Dr. Smith, I'd like to take this opportunity to extend my, heartfelt gratitude to the Order of St. George for the wonderful and passionate assistance that you've been giving all these years. And the girls and the team of Kilimanjaro Institute of Development Studies have asked me to extend this gratitude to you tonight. And we are looking forward. If you visit Tanzania next year, we'd like you very much to be around and show you around. And of course, make you feel very much at home here in Tanzania. So we thank you very much for all your actually assistance that you've been rendering all these years. Thank you so much.
Dr. Esamoah, thank you so very much. And Grand Prairie Robert, that comes to the conclusion of our presentation about one of our most important programs, the Order of St. George. It's doing and changing lives. And if it's appropriate, I'll ask, are there any questions from anybody that you would like to ask?
There are. Marin has a hand up. She would like to say something.
Yes, Marion.
Yeah, first off, I will say thank you to St. George, which is helping the children and the women in Africa. I really proud of you guys, especially Dr. Thomas. I can feel it how you're doing what you're doing with these children and women. Actually, I used to work with with Mother Teresa in several area, which is I passed through Tanzania too, and I was on South Africa. So I see people without you guys. If I haven't have Charles or Robert is from St. George, I would not known get known to the Daniel Foundation. Each every one of you guys, you giving sacrifice your time and your effort. I really admire as the name of African, which is Ethiopia. It should be used to, and then it should known that as you working in Tanzania, Dr. Thomas, in the Horn of Africa. As the Horn of Africa, whatever we have, we always admire to the people who are coming, welcoming to the Africa. And I will welcome to you to anywhere you travel through to the Daniel Foundation, which is I love to pass through your organization to see the children on the Tanzania on the time of you asking any effort. I'm really happy to have you guys on this time, and I will thanks to St. George to give opportunity to open eye of African children regarding Daniel Foundation, also what happened and what they're doing. People need you as much as what Charles, Colonel Charles and Dr. Thomas, all of you in this team, what you're doing is to save the life of children. By the name of God, I will really thanks to you. I just put my hand up to say thank you to every word to word, and what you done for those children. Thank you very much, really. I really admire to have God is good. I joined this time. I'm so lucky to have you guys. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other question?
Dr. Smith, you had another couple slides. Do you want to talk about those?
This shows our initiative that we want to take this to the land. We did some experimentation last year with growing tomatoes, and the girls were working this and learning agriculture. You see the building here, this is the building that's been donated with the land. It caught on fire, and we've been able to put a roof on it, but the inside is all burned out. So that's one of our objectives this year, is to raise the funds to remodel this building and add to it, and to expand it with classrooms for agricultural training. And what our prayer is that we can do that, and it becomes the Order of St. George International Agricultural Training Center. So that's our objective with that for 2026. Was there another slide, Robert?
I believe so.
Yes.
It's the last one.
Yes. And here's further information. If you get contact through my email, or you want to reach out to Dr. Badger, or of course the Grand Priors. They have all the information of what we're doing, and be able to contact. And then on the Grand Priory website for the Americas, there is links to make donations also with that. So thank you, Grand Prior. Thank you, Grand Prior Charles, Grand Prior Stewart. It's always a pleasure and honor to be with you and see you. And God bless the work that the order is doing. Thank you so very much.
Thank you, Tom. Charles has a question or comment.
I just have a quick comment. First of all, thank you, Maren, for your kind words. And thank you, Dr. Thomas, for the comments from your colleague in Tanzania. It is an honor for us to be able to do what we do to help. And I have put the Danielle Foundation website in the chat box. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Would you like to make a comment?
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Appreciate all of you, all the work that we're doing. Our next presentation will be from Johan Seller in regards to our Afghan refugee resettlement project. Johan?
George. Robert, thanks. Good day, everybody. My name is Johan. I have been involved in evacuations for many, many years, but late in 2021 August timeframe, a number of US and European-based NGOs approached us and asked if we could help coordinate evacuations out of Kabul, Afghanistan. During the rush of it all, we were successful in getting 2 charter flights out before the airport was shut down. And immediately after that, our focus then shifted to how to evacuate those that we could not move out of Kabul. This remaining group that we were trying to get out included former military interpreters, employees and associates of these NGOs that asked us for help, persecuted journalists, persecuted ethnic religious minorities, and a couple of women's rights activists. All along, as we whittled the groups down, our group composition was always 65 to 70% females and children. We started out in Afghanistan moving about 200 plus people throughout the country from safe house to safe house, while slowly moving individual families out of the country into places like Pakistan and Qatar. And eventually we moved a large group, 120 people, to Erbil in Kurdistan in Iraq, where we had them for a 12-month period. During that 12 months, we were successful in moving several families to other countries around the world, France, Belgium, and others. Eventually, after 12 months, we had to move them, and we relocated them to Pristina in Kosovo in Eastern Europe. And since arriving in Kosovo now almost 10 months ago, we have successfully whittled the whole. All good?
Thank you, Johan. Appreciate all the work that you're doing in this regard. I know it's been a tough number of years to get all this done, so we're very appreciative to be able to work with you on this initiative.
Well, listening to the earlier presentations where the girls in Tanzania and the orphans and others in Ethiopia, it feels good to know that you are providing a future for young girls coming out of Afghanistan that in their own country would never have the ability to go to school, have a future, create a family, those kind of things. And so it's a mission well worth being involved in. So all good. Thanks.
Thank you. Any questions or comments for Johan?
group down to essentially the last 6 families, 40 people. And we are now frantically working with a number of entities in Europe to ensure their permanent resettlement in Europe. Over the last 2 years, after we moved in from Afghanistan to Erbil in Iraq, we've successfully relocated families to Australia, Belgium, France, Germany, Oman. And ever since we started back in August 2021, our mission has relied solely on private donations to provide a sustainment for all these families, which includes providing accommodation, food stipends, healthcare, security, and onward travel, visas, passports, those kind of things. It's been an uphill struggle ever since, but we'll keep going until we are done with these last families. Should also mention that during the same time frame, our group was also involved in evacuating at-risk families out of Ukraine, Israel, Sudan, and Syria, and especially with regards to Ukraine, was how I personally got involved with Robert at Order of St. George North America the first time. So the relationship has been there for a while. If there's anyone that would think that they would want to support, yes, we would want financial support, but what's probably more important to us, and I'm thinking about the folks in the UK or the folks in Canada, is your networks. If you have good relationship with authorities, whether it's at the government level or the senior NGO level, please reach out to Robert or to me through Robert. We'd love to tap your mind and just see how can you potentially use that to place a family or place families potentially using those networks. So that was me, Robert.
Johan, thank you very much for your presentation today, and we look forward to continue working with you.
Yes, we can now.
All right, our next presenter on our Clean Water Initiative will be Ahmet Insiro. Ahmet?
Good afternoon, knights and dames and dear guests. And apologies for my voice, I'm sick. I will try to do my best. Thank you for joining us today. What you're about to see is more than a project update. It's a story of how we, as the Order of St. George, can make a lasting difference where it matters most: access to clean water and safe water. As you look at these slides, remember this: behind every statistic, there are families, children missing school because of illness. Parents spend hours each day searching for water instead of working or caring for their households. For them, clean water isn't just a convenience, it's a foundation of health, dignity, and opportunity. This is why our order is stepping in. We are not just providing wells or filters, we are building futures. When a village gains reliable clean water, everything changes. Schools thrive, local economies grow, and communities become stronger and more resilient. What makes our initiative different is sustainability. Each project is designed with the community, not just for it. Local training ensures that systems don't fall into disrepair. Technology alone is not enough. It must be paired with knowledge and ownership. Already we are seeing transformation. Families now drink without fear of disease. Children are healthier and back in classrooms. Women who once carried heavy buckets for miles now have time for work, education, and family. These may seem like small changes, but together they add up to something extraordinary. This is where you come in. Whether through advocacy, donations, or simply spreading awareness, each of us can extend the reach of this project. This isn't charity, it's partnership, solidarity, and service in a truest tradition of Order of St. George. As we continue this mission, let's remember, clean water is not a luxury, it's a right. By ensuring access, we are not only quenching thirst, we are affirming life, dignity, and hope. Together, we can be the reason another community turns hardship into strength. This concludes my presentation.
Thank you, Ahmet. We appreciate that.
Thank you, sir.
Any questions or comments for Ahmet? We are just starting this particular project, so you'll be seeing more information about it coming up in the future. And we appreciate any involvement that anyone wishes to participate with this particular program. So look forward to working with Ahmet and some of his other colleagues in being able to provide clean water to various different villages and cities throughout the world. With that, we'll go to conclude. We appreciate all of our speakers, wonderful different projects that are all ongoing from the Order of St. George. We appreciate everybody's participation today and wish everybody a wonderful weekend. Thank you.